Dear learners, welcome back. Today we are going to start a new topic, that is open channel flow. Many of my learners were requesting this topic, so on the request of my learners, especially Deepak, I have started this open channel flow. Without any further ado, let's start our topic. So what is open channel flow? Even before what is open channel flow, let's understand what is open channel. Open channels are conduits in which liquid flows with a free surface, and the free surface is in the contact with the atmosphere. So this is the basic definition of open channel. Now some of the examples of open channel are river, canals, storm drains, street gutters, sewers, which are partially full. And these are the figures of some open channels. So these are all open channels. As you can see, the liquid is flowing and the surface of the liquid is exposed to the atmosphere. Even if the pipe is closed, suppose this pipe is a closed pipe, but the liquid here has a free surface and the pressure over here is atmospheric. It is not under any other pressure which is greater than the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so this means this is open channel flow. Here also, in the second figure also, you can see that the pipe is a closed pipe. Open channel doesn't mean that the flow has to be open, rather it means that the surface of the liquid is having a pressure equal to the atmospheric pressure. Okay, so these are all open channel flow. Now let's understand what is the difference between the open channel flow and pipe flow for making it more clearer. Fluid is under atmospheric pressure in case of open channel flow, while the fluid is at more than atmospheric pressure in case of pipe flow. Now from the figure you can see that pipe is running full over here, and if you just make a hole over here, what will happen, the all the fluid will start gushing out because the fluid is flowing under pressure. It is not under atmospheric pressure. So this is the case of what, this is the case of pipe flow. And here the liquid is flowing, and this is the cross section of area of the pipe, and here the pressure is atmospheric pressure. So this is the case of open channel flow. Now once we have understood the basic difference between the open channel flow and pipe flow, let's dig deeper and we will learn about the energy of flowing fluid in open channel flow and pipe flow. So before understanding the energy in open channel flow and pipe flow, what we are going to do, we are going to learn about something about energy first. Okay, and especially about head. You must have heard about the word head, but what does it mean? What does it mean? Okay, head is the energy per unit weight of the fluid with respect to a datum. Basically, per unit weight of the fluid energy. So now you know that energy can be a potential energy, a kinetic energy, or the pressure energy. These are the three kinds of energy available in the fluid. Basic. So let's first understand about the potential energy or the potential head. If you divide the potential energy of the fluid with its unit weight, what do you mean by unit weight? Unit weight is the density, but it is weight, so it is rho g. Okay, someone who doesn't know what is unit weight is nothing but density of the fluid multiplied by the acceleration due to gravity. So if you divide the energy with the unit weight of the fluid, what you are going to get, you are going to get the head. Let's first understand about the different heads, and then we will dig deeper into the OCF. So first of the head is the potential head. Okay, so let's not take the example of the fluid, rather let's take the example of a ball, simple ball. There is a simple ball of mass m. Okay, and here is the datum. This is the datum. What is the height of the ball? The height of the ball is suppose z from the datum. So what will be the potential energy of this ball? Potential energy will be mgz. Okay, now if you divide it by the weight of the same ball, you are going to get the head of this ball. Okay, What is the head? So this is potential energy. Now let me write it. What is potential head? Potential head means simply per unit weight, per unit weight. So what you are going to do, you are going to divide it by the weight of the ball. Okay, so you will going to divide it by mg and the result will be z, simply z. So whatever is the height of the ball is same as the potential head of the ball. Simply the distance from the datum gives the potential head. Same is the case of with the fluid as well. Suppose instead of ball, this is the fluid of mass m, suppose. So potential energy of this fluid will be mgz. Now what will be the potential head of the fluid? If in order to find it out, you have to divide it by the weight of the fluid. Now once we have understood what is potential head, let's move ahead and let's understand what is pressure head. So what is this? A cuboid. Suppose this cuboid symbolizes the fluid flowing in this direction. There is a fluid and it is flowing in this direction. Let's take a small section over here. A small section over here. Something like this. It is a cylindrical, perfect cylindrical section which I haven't made. So just imagine this is a perfect cylindrical section and the cross section of this is A. And what is the height over here? Let the height be h. Okay, now what is the pressure exerted by this liquid column at the bottom here? What is the pressure exerted by this liquid column at the bottom? So what is pressure? Pressure is force per unit area, right? Now let the unit weight of the fluid, that means density multiplied by acceleration due to gravity, unit weight is small w. Okay, so pressure is what? Force per unit area. So what is the force over here? Force will be density into g. This is unit weight into volume. What is volume? It is cross sectional area into h. This will give you the force. Now what will be the pressure then? Pressure will be force per unit area. Force per unit area. So what is the cross sectional area? It is WHA by A. This is the cross sectional area. A and A will get cancelled out and you will be left with W into H. This is the pressure. Total pressure exerted by the column of liquid at the bottom. But what is the pressure head? So pressure head will be pressure per unit weight of the fluid. Okay, so this will be W into H by W per unit weight. You will have to divide it by the unit weight of the fluid and you will be left with H only. So that means in case of open channel flow, whatever is the height of the flow is same as the pressure head. Understood? What is pressure head? In case of open channel flow, the depth of flow is same as the pressure head. Now next we are going to learn about the kinetic energy or the kinetic head. We know that what is kinetic energy? Kinetic energy is half mv square, right? Half into mass into velocity square. This fluid is having certain mass and certain velocity. So what will be the kinetic head? Kinetic head will be when you divide this kinetic energy by the weight of the fluid per unit weight. Okay, so we are going to divide it by the weight of the fluid. So mv square by what is the weight of the fluid? It will be mass into acceleration due to gravity. So you will be left out with m and n will be gone and you will be left out with v square by 2g. So this v square by 2g gives you the kinetic head of the fluid. Now, so we learnt about the potential head, we learnt about the pressure head, and we learnt about the kinetic head. So what will be the total head of the fluid? In the open channel flow, the total head of any fluid in open channel flow will be summation of potential head, that is the height from the datum, the height of the column h, which will give you the pressure head or pressure energy, and the kinetic head will be given by v square by 2g. I hope this is clear up till now. If not, just rewind everything and go through it once again, because this is going to be the basic of your open channel flow. This equation is very important and it will help you to understand the entire open channel flow. So first one is the potential head, this is the pressure head, and this is the kinetic head. Now let's move ahead, and we will be learning about the energy gradient line in case of open channel. So this is the channel bed. Suppose this is a channel bed, this is an open channel, and we are looking at the section of the channel. Here is the datum, this is the channel bed, and this is the free surface. This is the free surface of the flow. So the height from the datum, let's say it is, here it is z1. This is the height from the datum. At this is the section 1. Let's take two sections. This is section 1 and this is section 2. Okay, h1 is the height of the free surface from the channel bed. Okay, and so this will represent what? This is z1 is nothing but the potential head, right? This is the potential head. This is what? This is pressure head. H1 is what? Pressure head. Now fluid is having some kinetic energy, and the value of the kinetic head will be what? It is going to be v square by 2g. We have learned this. This is the kinetic head, and if we represent this in the form of an arrow like this, so this is v square, v1 square, let's say, by 2g is the kinetic head over here. Similarly, in section 2, we'll be having z2, h2 and v2 square by 2g. These are the potential head, pressure head and the kinetic head of the fluid at section 2. Now, if we join these 2 points with a straight line, let's suppose, okay, if we join these 2 points with a straight line, let me join it here, then this line over here is called the energy gradient line. Energy gradient line of open channel. Now, along with that, I would like to mention here that this is SB. This is what? SB. SB means it is the slope of channel bed. SB is, let me mention it here, SB is slope of channel bed, and this here is SF. SF. SF is what? Is the slope of energy gradient line. Slope of energy gradient line. And how do we find out this slope SF? It is the difference between the two heads. Okay, so if you add, if you add the potential head, the pressure head and the kinetic head at section 1, and similarly if you add these 3 heads at section 2 and find the difference between the two, and then divide it by the horizontal distance between the channel, what you are going to get, you are going to get the slope of the energy gradient line. Now apart from this, there is one another thing that you should know. If you are not considering this kinetic head, rather you are just considering the potential head and the pressure head, the summation of this potential head and pressure head will give you this line, which is the hydraulic gradient line, which is called hydraulic gradient line. And in case of open channel flow, this hydraulic gradient line coincides with the free surface of the liquid. This is very important. In case of open channel flow, the hydraulic gradient line coincides with the free liquid surface. Free surface. So the free surface is same as the hydraulic gradient line, but only in the case of OCF, that is the open channel flow. Now let's consider a pipe. This is a pipe. This is a pipe, and a liquid is flowing through the pipe in this direction. Now let's take a datum over here. There is a datum. From the center of this pipe, what we are considering, the height from the datum will give you the potential head, right? Similarly, the pressure head will be given by what? Here we are not going to write H, rather what is pressure head? Pressure head is the total pressure divided by the unit weight of the liquid, right? So this, if you have any confusion, pressure head is what? Pressure head is total pressure divided by the unit weight of the liquid, or the density of the liquid, you can say. So this P by W will give you the pressure head, and then velocity head will be given by V1 square by 2g, and here it is P2 V2 square by 2g. Similarly, pressure 2 by W, and here it will be Z2, right? If you join these two, points, what you are going to get? You are going to get the energy gradient line. Energy gradient line in case of pipe flow. And if you are not considering the velocity head and considering only the potential head and the pressure head, what we are going to get, it is hydraulic gradient line. So in case of pipe flow, the hydraulic gradient line does not coincides with the free surface of the liquid. In case of pipe flow, even there is no free surface as well. So you can say in case of pipe flow, this hydraulic gradient line doesn't lie in the liquid, but in case of open channel flow, this hydraulic gradient line coincides with the free surface of the liquid, and this point is very important. So now once you have understood about the energy heads, energy gradient lines, let's move ahead, and we are going to learn about the important geometric parameters in case of open channel flow. So first is the bed width. It is generally denoted by capital B. So what is the bed width? Suppose this is the channel. So the width of the bed of the channel is known as the bed width. Okay, as simple as that. What is the top width? Now there are two tops. One is the here to here, that is the channel's top, and one is the top of the free surface of the liquid. Which one are you going to take as the top bit? So here lies the confusion. So let me just clarify this. This is very important, don't get confused. The top width in case of open channel flow is the width of the free surface of the liquid and not the width of the channel. Okay, so this is the top width, which is same as the width of the top surface of the liquid. So this is the top width. Third is the cross sectional area. Cross sectional area is the area normal to the direction of flow. So this is very simple. Whatever is the direction of flow, you will take an area normal to that, and that will give you the cross sectional area. Now the perimeter. Generally, what is the perimeter? Perimeter is the boundary, right? So but in case of open channel flow, we are not going to take, suppose we have to take this perimeter, we are not going to take this surface, we are not going to take this is avoided. and the perimeter which is considered is just this purple line which I am drawing here, from here till here till here. This is the perimeter which we are going to take. This is the perimeter P in case of open channel flow. We are not going to consider the free surface. The only water which is in contact with the channel is considered in case of, in the calculation of perimeter. Now another thing is the depth of flow section. So what is depth of flow section? Suppose there is a liquid flowing in open channel flow, then this depth, which is perpendicular from the channel bed to the free surface, is known as the depth of flow section, and it is denoted by letter Y. Sometimes we use it interchangeably, like depth of flow. Depth of flow is not perpendicular distance, it is just the vertical distance between the channel bed and the top free surface of the fluid, and it is denoted by letter D. But since the we are talking about the channel which has a very low slope, the slope of the channel bed is very very small, then this Y is almost nearly equal to D, and we use it interchangeably. Don't worry about that. But it was my duty to tell you, so I am telling you this: the depth of flow of the section is this distance, while the depth of flow is this distance. Okay, now what is hydraulic radius? This is very 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 important thing. What is hydraulic radius? You will encounter this a number of times. Hydraulic radius is the ratio of the cross sectional area of the channel to the perimeter of the channel, A by P. So if you want to calculate the hydraulic radius of this trapezoidal channel, suppose you have to calculate this whole area. This will give you the cross sectional area of the channel, and if you divide it by the perimeter, this P, what we are going to get, you are going to get the hydraulic radius of the channel. This is the hydraulic radius. Definition of hydraulic radius: cross sectional area divided by the perimeter. Now what is hydraulic depth? This is also very important. Hydraulic depth is the cross sectional area of the channel divided by the top width of the channel. So once you understood what is hydraulic radius and hydraulic depth, it is very good. So if you want to find out what is the hydraulic depth of this trapezoidal channel, what you are going to do, you are going to find out the cross sectional area and divide it by the top width of the channel in order to get the hydraulic depth. And let me repeat once again, the top width of the channel is not this width, not this one. It is the width of the top free surface. Now this is the bed slope. Channel bed slope means this slope, like along the direction of the flow. If the channel is flowing like this slope is known as the bed slope. It is very common, but don't confuse it with this slope. Like if there is a triangular channel or this is a trapezoidal channel, you will encounter a slope here as well, and this slope is known as the side slope. This is known as the side slope and not the bed slope. Bed slope is different from the side slope. So that's all for today's class. We have just started the open channel flow. We have learned the basics. In the next class, we'll be continuing with another topic in the same open channel flow. So till then, stay tuned. Hope you like the session. Bye, and don't forget to like and follow me for more, and do subscribe to my Telegram channel for any updates.